Hello, our dear viewers, and welcome to a new edition of our program Africa Today. In today's edition, we are dedicating this program for the Sham el-Nessim celebrations, as Egyptians are celebrating this very special occasion today. But first, we'll start with this report where Sham el-Nessim is celebrated by Egyptians of all religions, as it is based on spring festival that parades both the Christianity and Islam. Sham el-Nessim can be dated back to the ancient Egyptians to at least 2700 BC and is a festival that celebrates the arrival of the spring season. The changing of the seasons and in particular the effect of the Nile would have been important events in the life of all Egyptians, and the close of and the start of a prosperous agricultural season would have been a key celebration. And the following story has more details with Abir Mitwali.
Since 2700 BC by all Egyptians, regardless of their religion, beliefs, and social status. The name Sham el-Nessim, inhaling the breeze, is derived from the Coptic language, which is in turn derived from the ancient Egyptian language. It was originally pronounced Chum-Nissim, with Chum meaning gardens and Nissim meaning meadows. Like most ancient Egyptian feasts, Sham el-Nessim was linked to astronomy and nature. It marked the beginning of the spring festival, with day and night equal in length, and the sun in the Aries zodiac, marking the beginning of creation. The ancient Egyptians, who called it the Feast of Shammo, the revival of life, determined the exact date each year by measuring the sun's alignment with the Great Pyramid in Giza. These days, many Egyptians rise at the crack of dawn and head out to parks and gardens for a family picnic. There, they enjoy the spring breeze with a traditional meal of fish, onions, and eggs. Fish figured large in ancient Egyptian beliefs, and this translated into a range of dishes. Salted mullet fish, known as fisir, was offered to the gods in Isna in Upper Egypt. Indeed, Isna's ancient name was Lathopolis, reflecting the original name of the fish before salting. Another traditional Sham el-Nessim practice, the coloring of eggs, reflects the ancient Egyptian view of eggs as symbolic of new life. The symbolism featured in the Pharaonic Book of the Dead and Akhenaton's chant, God is one, he created life from the inanimate, and he created chicks from eggs. Ancient Egyptians would boil eggs on the eve of Sham el-Nessim, decorating and coloring them in various patterns. They would then write their wishes on these eggs, tuck them in baskets made of palm fronds, and hang them on trees on the roofs of their houses, hoping that gods would answer their wishes by dawn. The habit of eating onions on the feast day is equally ancient. According to Egyptian legend, one of the pharaoh's daughters had an incurable disease. Doctors were clueless until a high priest gave her onion juice by way of medicine. Her condition improved, and her father, thrilled at her recovery, declared the day an official celebration in honor of onions.
Tunisia will seek a $4 billion US loan program from the International Monetary Fund in talks starting next week. The IMF has previously said Tunisia should target urgent reforms of the state-owned enterprises, subsidies, and the large public sector wage bill. More details follow.
Tunisian Prime Minister Hicham Mechichi said the country will seek a $4 billion loan program from the International Monetary Fund in talks starting next week, saying politicians faced a last opportunity to save the economy. Mechichi said he expected talks to last about 2 months and had confidence Tunisia could secure financial support to help it through an economic crisis that has been aggravated by the COVID-19 pandemic. He said he wanted a 3-year loan program and added the details of an agreement with power labor unions seen as vital to unlock foreign funding were still being finalized. He said Tunisia would rationalize rather than cut subsidies, and said it was considering sales of minority stock it holds in some businesses in order to finance investment in the most important publicly owned companies. The IMF has previously said Tunisia should target urgent reforms of state-owned enterprises, subsidies, and large public sector wage bill.
A May 18th summit in France will tackle how developing countries, particularly in Africa, can avoid falling further behind as the global economy rebounds after the coronavirus pandemic.
French Economy Minister Le Maire said a May 18th summit in France will tackle how developing countries, particularly in Africa, can avoid falling further behind as the global economy rebounds after the coronavirus pandemic. The International Monetary Fund has allocated $23 billion in direct financing to countries in sub-Saharan Africa, whose combined economy shrank 1.9% in 2020, its worst contraction on record. Its recovery is forecast to trail the rest of the world's in 2020-2025. Le Maire told reporters during a two-day visit to Ivory Coast that the IMF cash will go directly to African economies, so you also can revive your economies and participate in the great global recovery. He said the summit would look at ways to support the region's small and medium-sized firms, including through loan guarantees. According to the IMF, these businesses have struggled to get financing amid the downturn, which pushed employment down 8.5% and left 17 countries on the continent in or close to debt distress last year.
And back to our celebrations for Sham al-Nissim to shed more light about how to eat in Sham al-Nissim, as Sham al-Nissim is coming in the holy months of Ramadan. We are very much delighted to have with us over the phone Dr. Nahla Bakri, our nutritionist and weight loss consultant. Dr. Bakri, good afternoon to you.
Hello and happy Sham al-Nissim.
Happy Sham al-Nissim, Dr. Bakri. Dr. Bakri, Sham al-Nissim is coming this year during the holy month of Ramadan and amid somehow a heat wave. So what do we expect here for the Egyptians to eat during this celebration? And indeed, the salted fish and all the food that we used to eat during Sham al-Nissim might be a bit difficult during Ramadan. So what's your advice here for the Egyptians during Sham al-Nissim?
Of course, we'd like to celebrate our Sham al-Nissim as usual, but it's very hard when you're fasting.
Yes.
So I recommend that we do that in moderation, making sure that we also consume some yogurt next to it, which is not very traditional to Sham al-Nissim.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But I think it's better to consume the yogurt to aid digestion, and also make sure that you take lots of vegetables, especially the greens, which is traditional in Sham al-Nissim.
Yes.
And also, I recommend that we take a detox drink with the food, like, for instance, a lemon mint or a kiwi mint or any detox smoothie with this meal. Mm-hmm. Make sure that also we are hydrated and detoxify just in case any toxins are present in the meal.
Yes. Dr. Bakri, also, if people want to eat the salted fish that we used to eat during Sham al-Nissim, like fisikh, ringa, how that could be done and what to do after that? We drink a lot of fluids, or what's your advice here if they eat that on during the time of iftar?
No problem, they can eat that. Just make sure, as I said, just to consume yogurt or rice after that, and also not to eat that during suhoor, because then you're going to start fasting and you're going to be very, very thirsty. And then make sure from iftar to suhoor that you are hydrated while you're drinking enough fluid just to flush it out.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes. Dr. Bakri, starting today and for a couple of days as well, we are witnessing somehow a heat wave, or the temperatures are quite high. So, and people are fasting yet. So what's your advice here for the people during that heat wave? What should be their diet, and how many cup of fluids they should be consuming from iftar to suhoor? What's your advice for the best diet here amid our concerns also from the COVID-19 pandemic?
The best thing is to make sure that you are taking from 2 to 3 liters of fluid water and fluids, including, of course, soup and herbals and just water and drinks like karkade or all the traditional drinks, but not too much sugar. To make sure that you're getting in 2 to 3 liters of fluid.
Yes.
Also, hydration with yogurt and raib is very, very essential. Also, to keep you hydrated and to keep your skin in a good condition, and your gut, also the GI tract, in a good condition. Fruits and vegetables to be consumed because also they have water content. To be consumed instead of the sweets, the desserts that we are used to in Ramadan. Try to consume more fruits, more melons, watermelons, because they have very high water content.
Yes.
And if you do that, you take care that you're doing that, you will not feel thirsty.
Yes. Dr. Bakri, indeed, during the holy month of Ramadan, many people are consuming a high amount of desserts and sweets. And after that, we are approaching Eid, so we are eating kahk and biscuits. So what's the proper amount here to eat, but not to gain weight and not to harm ourselves during the coming days?
During Eid, people just are not very hungry anymore, especially in the morning, but I feel they stuff themselves with food. So you already gained the benefit of intermittent fasting. I recommend they continue that. If you just have 1 to 2 fasts per day, that's the recommendation, not more than that.
Yeah.
The calories can vary from 100 per cookie to maybe 200 per cookie, so the calories can mount very quickly. Also, keep eating your fruits and vegetables because that's the insurance for your immunity during the COVID.
Yes.
And eating healthy food all around the day, not just concentrating on cookies alone. Okay, you have to have a balanced diet. You have to have your meat, carbohydrates, your yogurt, fruits and vegetables, protein, nuts and seeds, a variety of foods that are nutritious, and then have a little bit of fat here and there, not necessarily a diet.
What's the proper amount, Dr. Bakri, to consume per day? How many pieces of kahk or biscuits that is acceptable not to gain weight or to harm ourselves by the eating sweets here?
I was just saying 1 to 2 is the recommendation.
Yes,
Not more than that.
Yes, as you have kindly mentioned that we want to consume proper food because of our concern of the COVID-19. How to improve our immune system? What's the proper consumption of food here? Vegetables, protein. What we should be eating in order to improve our immunity system?
To improve your immunity, you have to have all your vitamins and minerals from food. This is the best supplier of the vitamins and minerals are the fruits and vegetables, the complex carbohydrates, the whole grains, the meat that you're eating, and chicken. And then, of course, as I said, yogurt and water. Water is very essential also. Keep you in a good health, and exercise. I know it's very hard when the gyms are almost closed and it's very hot, but if you can walk during the night, half hour to an hour every night, it's essential for your immunity and your overall health.
To walk almost 1 hour per day.
Per day, yes.
And consume, what's the proper amount here of fluids? And we are talking about only water, or any kind of drinks here would be considered in the 3 to 4 liters of water per day, Dr. Bakri?
2 to 3 liters non-caffeinated drinks. So any drink that contains caffeine is not considered water because caffeine pushes the water out of your body faster than you want. So water or soup or herbals, or like karkade, and all these are considered fluids, are good fluids that you can, consume per day.
Yes.
And keep you hydrated.
Yes. To be hydrated, to walk at least 1 hour per day, and to eat vegetables and greens. That's your advice for a better health and a better immune system, Dr. Bakri.
Absolutely.
Indeed, Dr. Nahla Bakri, our nutritionist and weight loss consultant. Thank you very much for being our guest for today and for your precious advices and input. And happy Sham el-Nessim. Our dear viewers, with that we come to the end of this edition of Africa Today, where we have been dedicating this episode to the celebrations of Sham el-Nessim here in Egypt. And we gave you proper advice by Dr. Nahla Bakri about what is the proper food to eat during the celebrations of Sham el-Nessim and during the coming days of the holy month of Ramadan and Eid al-Fitr. Many thanks for watching. I'm Mahisi Rabia signing off.